And so the battle begins. And it's weird because my inner voice tells me, listen to me or you will lose your mind. This is a life and death battle. You will lose your mind. And to give you some backstory, that same friend who said I was God or earlier in the story, he told me, kind of joking, that my uncle was the God killer and that many gods have lost their mind to them. And that I have an uncle who lost their mind too. Like he's crazy and went into drugs. And he essentially says that my uncle did that to his brother. So he has some power to shatter your mind somehow. And I was like, okay, I don't know if I believe that, but now my inner spirit is kind of saying the same thing. And so it's weird because it's like I'm talking now normally, and just it seems like I'm saying normal things, but really I'm casting hidden spells with my speech and my words. So my uncle, we're just having a normal conversation, but in a hidden world or hidden information, we're really casting spells at each other. And we're just talking about life and about experience. But my inner spirit is like telling me to, get him to admit this, or get him to eat some salt. Really dumb things that like may seem really dumb, but it's what it is. Get him to sit down. Get him to take over the conversation. Stop letting him speak so much. Things like that. It was telling me to like, now you need to speak, and now you need to not speak, and now you need to speak and take advantage of this and talk about this. Really weird things, but it was a mental battle. Just think, when two people have conversations, they're exchanging mental ideas that comes in terms of speech that we can understand. That's how we can conversate with people. But this is a conversation that has certain influential tendencies to it that you can call spells or battle or mental magic. And I can't 100% remember the entirety of the Pacific battle, but essentially at the end of it, I won. That I listened, everything my inner voice told me to do, I did it. And he gave me a vape. He said, "You want to hit a vape?" I said, "Sure, I'll hit the vape, whatever." My inner spirit said, "Sure," And my inner spirit even told me that it was some form of an attack, that they could, I assume they could mentally put their energy in this thing, and that it can be an attack. And so I smoked it, and then my inner spirit said, "Okay, now leave. You won. And I go to my grandma before I leave, and I tell her like, I see her as like Gaia, Mother Gaia, she's a personification, like a variation of a manifestation of Mother Gaia, which is a really kind entity. But like, I think my cats are Freya, or my cats are like gods who got punished to be cats, or stuff like that. But I tell my grandmother like, I don't want your power. Just leave me alone. Leave me out of it. And I was seeing all these representations of old gods from my family. And my grandma doesn't know what's going on. I bless her 3 burgers that she was making burgers, and I blessed the patties. And all this stuff sounds pretty crazy, but hey, it's what happened. And then I my inner spirit says to leave, and my grandpa hollers like, "What's going on?" And I run out the house, and I feel like I had the boots of Hermes on. And I was just running really fast out my house. And I won. My inner spirit said, "You won. You won." That's it. That's all it said. And then I'm walking back home. I don't live far from my grandmother's house. I live like a few blocks. And I'm walking. And then all of a sudden, I feel an energy come into my back. Just the same as the Holy Spirit came into me. And all of a sudden, I feel power beyond my understanding. I feel power rushing through my veins. And I scream, "I am Kratos, the god of war." And I start talking to the sky, saying, "Gods, like, you think I care? You think you control me? I don't care about all these rules. I don't care about any. And I start ripping my clothes off. And I essentially am pretty much naked in the street, but it's as if I'm not in control of my body. This entity, Kratos, is in control of my body. I don't know what's going to happen next, but I'm screaming, I can't be stopped. And I'm saying, come fight me, come to me, come challenge me. And I'm talking to the gods. And I get to my door, but I threw away my phone, my keys, everything in the street. And I jumped over my gate. And I'm be honest, I tried to kick my door in. I could not do it, And then I kicked my window in, and my window is made out of plastic, so there's no real danger in it. But obviously, I didn't want to do it. But it was like I was kicking in the doors of Sparta or something, and I jump, and I'm naked essentially. So I go into my window, and I go into my roommate's room, and it's his wife there, and he's there, and he it's like I can read his mind, and it was really weird. Like he was speaking things, but it's like when people say something, but they think something else. It's like he spoke something to me, but I can hear his thoughts. So like he said, like, oh, what's going on? But in his mind, I can hear him saying, like, thinking he may need to get his knife, or he may need to defend himself against me, like something like that. And I tell him, don't worry, bro, chill. Like, don't worry, you don't need your knife. I tell him that. He just looks at me, and I sit down and say, like, I've awakened, I've returned, and I'm thinking like they're gods, and they're all these gods, and I'm seeing gods within my own, within the people in my life, like gods of mythology. And after that, we settle down, and he cries and hugs me and stuff like that. And then he helps me put the window back in, and I go to get my clothes and my keys and my phone that I threw. And that very same day, he decides to leave. So I call my girlfriend, and she comes from work, and she's talking to me, and she looks really concerned because she doesn't understand what's going on. And my roommate, he just starts to leave. But he's not really that mad or upset, but he just says he can't do it no more. Right? And then he tells me that my best friend and his wife is going against Source, essentially, a god. And I asked him about this later, and he says he never said that. So, who knows. But my best friend at the time comes over with his wife, or with my girlfriend. Like, my girlfriend comes and she leaves, and she comes back with him. And they're trying to talk me into something. They're trying to say, like, you need help and something's wrong with you. And I'm telling them, like, look, I agree with you that stuff is going on, things that I don't really understand, and I'm willing to go talk to someone, but essentially, I already agreed to this. What else do you want me to do? And he essentially says, he's just really mad and upset. And I kind of get mad and say, stop talking. And my girlfriend at the time starts talking to me about, you need to really get help, and could you really go? And I say, yeah, I've already said I'll do it. And my best friend at the time just kept pushing it, and he really got me upset. And I told him just to leave. And that same day, my best friend, he leaves, and my roommate, he packs his stuff and goes to live with my best friend. And my girlfriend left too, so it's just me now. It's just me here. And they all leave, and I go to sleep. And actually, I don't go to sleep. I go to sleep, and I wake up the next day, and it's an empty house, and I make some salmon, some food, and I smoke some weed. And I start talking to my inner voice, and it tells me, like, like my girlfriend, she needs to have, like, get over her fear, and you need to talk to your family over your fears as well. you know, over their fear, and they need to accept you. That's what my inner voice tells me. And I'll continue it.